Hello, my name is Max and welcome to Tabletop Reviews, where I'm bringing you a much larger box than I did last time. Just for a little comparison, here is the Candlebox box compared to the Wingspan box. It's quite a different size, isn't it? But yeah, today this video is all about Wingspan. Bring it back there. But of course not the base game, because I've already reviewed the base game, and that will be, you know, something up here-ish. Maybe this is too far, maybe this is too far. I don't know. But somewhere up there, there's a link for the original Wingspan videos. One of my first videos, so it's not as good as future videos. Some will probably argue that they're not very good now, but hey. But today is all about the Wingspan expansions. We've got the European expansion, the Oceanian expansion, the Asian expansions, the promo packs, and the Americas expansion. Of them bringing something new and something different, some more, some less. But yeah, this one thing to say is, of course, you should check out that review, or at least know how to play Wingspan for this video to make sense, because I'm not going to look at Wingspan itself. I'm only going to talk about the changes that the different expansions bring. Without further ado, let's get onto the table and see how it's set up and played.
Alright, the setups here are going to be a bit different and less detailed than I usually do, but let's get in here. This is a board from Oceania. It looks quite similar. It's a little bit matted in the color. That was a very weird way of saying that. Matted in color, and it has this area over here. Let me just show it to you properly. A little space for nectar, because that is something this expansion introduces, is nectar right here. This is a Joker resource that can be used for any purpose in terms of playing a bird card or using the powers that are on the board here. If a bird ability specifically says like worms or rats or whatever, you have to use that ability. You have to use that. You cannot use nectar instead. Some birds will specifically require nectar to be played. If you do decide to play a bird, let's say you play a bird in this yellow one here, and you do pay with one nectar, it is not returned to the pot. It is placed on this little tile over here. And at the end of the game, whoever has the most and second most in each spot will get 5 and 2 points respectively. If you have any nectar left over when the round ends, you lose that nectar. Nectar doesn't go from round to round, so it's not always a good thing to get it. That is nectar and nectar scoring. But the main thing it changes up is the board up here. Let's just take the top row for example. Here is one die with an ability to get an extra 2 dice with some abilities. And just to compare to the other side here, as you can see, it is a lot more muted, not going up as quickly with the amount that you get from each. Therefore, Oceania will ramp up quite a bit quicker and allow you to play a lot more cards. So that is just brilliantly there. Oceania also includes the end of the game abilities, which will allow you to, well, score some points at the end of the game a little bit quicker. Okay, we have Asia here. Now I'm gonna start by setting up the 2-player game. Well, almost. So first of all, the box comes with this 2 double-sided board, so if you can play with Oceania or just regular. Each player of course gets one. That's regular Wingspan. Basically the only thing that's different from regular Wingspan is this board here. So this does contain rounds goals here. Now these round goals are specifically for Asia, and they are all about this board in here. And well, so it's like placed on corners, placed on yellow, whatever. So I'm just gonna bring out the black ones here to showcase. You of course have the regular cubes that you will use over here and to score points. The round goals are quite simple. Whoever gets the most of whatever the goal is gets some points. The other one gets 0 points. Then it's 2 points, 3 points, 4 points, 5 points. So we can get away with some points up here, definitely. But what will happen is, whenever you play a bird into any of these areas, you look to see if it fits. So let's have a look here. You've got types of nests, food that it eats, wingspan size, food that it eats. The green is of course the top row, the blue is of course the bottom row, and The orange is of course the middle row, so whenever you play a bird in there, you check, does it eat worms, does it have this nest type, is it, what is that, less than 50 centimeters in wingspan, and you place one of your tokens on it and say, okay, well I got this one now. And some of them, this one will give you an egg, this one will give you a card, this one will give you some food for placing on it, of course. And you do that, as I said, the round and the goals have something to do with this one. It's like the least in corners or most in green or whatever. And at the end of the game, you count up the ones you have in your largest group. So let's say I got something to the tune of this. Let's say I got something to the tune of this. My largest group is 5, so I get 5 points, because it's 1 point per in your largest group. And I have a 1 and a 1 and a 2, so I don't get anything for those. But 5 points for my large group. Over here, so that's something to think about as well for the end of the game. There is also a rule where you can remove one of these tokens here to reset either the bird feeder or the or the bird tray, so the cards, of course, to reset those as well. I don't know if that's worth it, that's up to you. But that is basically the change to 2-player. Everything else is played the exact same. That is the changes that 2 players bring. Let's have a look at flock mode. Okay, let me try and see if I can explain flock mode. The basic gist is, first of all, you will split into 2 groups. So if you're 6 players, it's 3 and 3. If you're 7 players, it's 3 and 4. And these groups, it's not like it's a competitive group game or anything. It's just, you will split the bird cards and dice up into 2 pools. And each group have access to only 1 pool of cards or dice. Because you will be doing simultaneous turns. So let's just put this one in here. To start off, I'm going to do it, I'm going to put the 6 up correctly, and I'm going to put it in like this, and bam. So blue and white would take their turns simultaneously. They would take their turns simultaneously. And then, red and yellow would, and then green and purple, and then it's yellow and blue again, white and blue again, yellow and red again. Going on until everybody used their cubes, pass for the turn, and next round it would look like this to start off with, of course. But yeah, you would take simultaneous turns, but that means, red has access to 1 pile of cards and yellow to another pile of cards, so they don't sort of overlap with one another. But in terms of round goals here, or bird abilities that touch other players, everybody gets it. So it's basically 2 teams competing individually, but against another group of teams, or whatever. Doesn't make any sense, does it? No. For 7 players, it's a little bit more fun, because let's say it's a 3 and 4 group. So let's say purple, yellow, and red are one group, green, blue, black, and white are another group. And it starts like this. Purple is the start player here. That's the first round, then this one, then this one, and this one, and then, oh, green and white, but they're in the same fucking group. So what do I do now, eh? Well, then you have this one here. In round 1 and 3, green has the advantage. In rounds 2 and 4, white has the advantage. Except for, of course, yeah. So it will continue like that. I don't know how many times it will hit, but I think it's only green and white in this instance. But they will touch each other because they're in the same group, and then the rounds determine who has the advantage. Instead of just not doing it. But that's basically how these turns around and decide who plays and who doesn't. The star at the start of the round always has to point towards the player who's the star player. So if it's blue in the first round, it starts like this. And then it would be red in the next round. It would start like this. Quite simple like that, right? Fairly simple, I think. The round and goals here are just your standard competitive round and goals. You have the round here, over here. A bunch of points for coming in here. Ties are friendlies in this one, however. You don't share first and second. You just get the first point. Place points, no matter what. And that's the changes, right? This is how you determine players, and the little round goals here. Everything else interacts the same way, except for the fact that you, of course, have your deck and your dice split. Eggs and resources are not, because they don't have to. That's flock mode. Okay, I'm just going to use this side here to showcase off the Americas expansion, what it brings. Because what it brings in is these here, and they don't quite fit this one, but it's okay. It's an overlay that is put on top of it with this The only thing that adds is this space right here for a card. And each person will start with a card in there, which are these hummingbird cards. So hummingbird will start here. Now whenever you use an ability, well actually, you also get this thing, a little tracker here, and these here tokens. I'm just gonna grab them. 5 different tokens, which has each their track down here. So you place them on the start. And an additional central board is added in, which is this one, which is the hummingbird board, where hummingbirds will be added in. Oh, you can't see it. There you go. Where hummingbirds will be added in here. Bam. Okay. So you take an action of these here. You move your template over, and it lands on a space. If it's empty, like this space here, you take a hummingbird from up here, and you utilize its ability on the bottom left here. This one. So they are quite simple. There's quite a few of these ones which showcase a symbol. There's also one with nectar and one with a card, and this is an egg. You just gain an egg or nectar or card from that one. This one here, when you play it, can you focus? Yes. You get a ability from one of the cards you have in the row. So right now it's not very good to take. And this one allows you to move up a row of your choice on this one here. And for example, if I move the green one, I take this one, and I move the green one, it lands on a bird, as you can see there. That allows me to take another bird card from over here. And that might just be this one here, whatever. If you land on one that already has a bird, of course in this situation, the thing would be refilled. There we go. If you land on one that already has a bird, you send that bird away, right? So if it's empty, you get a bird. If it's filled, you get rid of the bird. Get rid of the bird by putting it out on top of another bird out here. And you do that, you move up a track, depending on the symbol in the top left. So this is purple, you have a green, this one's a diamond, a blue, you have a yellow, you have an orange. So you can put it on top in here, and you can choose either the bird that you played out, that one's track, or the bird you played it on top of, right? So if I play this bird on top of this bird, I can choose to move up in either one of these tracks. If there was already 2 birds down and I played another one, it's only the top bird. So it's not like I have 3 choices, I still just have these 2 choices in that example. And I move up whatever track it may have been. And that's the hummingbirds. They count as regular birds, so their names, their beaks are pointing to a side, their names, if they have colors like this purple crowned, minute hermit, I don't know if that's anything, can't remember. Jamaican, that's a location, right, for scoring purposes, right? And also over here, as you see, it's -3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10. Those are the amount of points, so depending on where your stuff they start on start and move up, depending on how high they get, the more points you get. From this one, there are of course also some round goals that are specifically mentioned, tracks to move up of, or something to do with hummingbirds. All new round end goals to do with that one. But that is basically what Americas adds. And there we go, those are the expansions all a little set up and played in different orders. So I'm going to run through them in chronological order here, just to talk about the gameplay changes that they bring. The European expansion doesn't really bring any gameplay changes. It brings in a new color, I believe it's the blue color that is between turns. Okay, I'm forgetting right now as I'm talking which one it is, so I should bring out the expansion map right here, because I don't want to say anything that's incorrect. I mean, look, yeah, end of turns, between turns, at end of round, end of turn things. Yeah, so I remember correctly. Yeah, goddammit. Fact checking myself. That's how good I am. But yeah, which is a lovely ability to bring in, which can be activated multiple times. Of course, I also feel like, but this might be incorrect, but I also feel like the European expansion brings in more helping each other birds. So brings in more of the, so, you know, we all do something birds.
That might be incorrect, but I feel like it does. One thing that I know it does is bring in more expensive birds. It's a bit more expensive of European expansion, so a lot of people I know play like you have the base game here and the European expansion here, so you can get some cheaper cards because the European birds are more expensive. So yeah, brings in something different and something interesting. But other than that, the European expansion doesn't really bring a whole lot. It brings in just more birds, basically, plus that new bird power. So bird power is very welcome, but it is just more birds. I don't want to give it a high score, but it's not going to be a low score because it's very good as well. 8 out of 10. That feels like a good score to such a expansion for such a great game, which basically just expands the greatness of the game. That's expansion. The next one is the Oceania expansion. This one does bring changes. It brings the nectar. And also the yellow power, which are at the end of the game powers. Let's talk about the powers real quick. Really awesome. It's always awesome to bring in these powers, especially because a lot of them is scoring some, laying some more eggs or something. So you bring in just a little bit more of a score right at the end, where you go, oh, you can score 10 more points, 20 more points. It can be a lot of points. Right at the end, it's like, oh, hey, okay, you just did that. Cool. So that's a really cool ability to bring into the game as well. And of course, you have the nectar. I love the nectar. First of all, you have the scoring. When you play a bird or pay with whatever nectar in this row, you put it over here, and then you have the most scored points. It's a really cool thing where you interact a little bit more with each other. You kind of keep your eye on people and like, okay, you have some over there. Can I win there? Maybe if I bring in some more nectar. Because it's not always worth it taking nectar. Because if you don't use the nectar, at the end of the round, you lose it. And that, I think, is a really cool addition to it, that where, if you take nectar, you gotta use it. It's a showing of intent, almost. And it would be stupid to do it at the end of the round, because you're just gonna lose it. That's a wasted turn. So, makes nectar really, really interesting in that way. Although the fact that it's a joker, but only for sort of playing cards. Not when you use card abilities, you have to use whatever it says. If it says any, you can use nectar as well. And some of them say nectar, but some birds specifically need nectar to work. Otherwise, well, they're not going to work. That goes without saying. So it's just such a lovely addition with this nectar. I think it's such a cool way. Just a tiny little scoring as well, which can bring up some points. It can change some of your choices. And the fact that you lose it, the showing of intent, like, okay, you just took a lot of nectar, you're going to play birds. I want to know what's happening here. So really awesome. End of round is a great ability to add on these birds as well. So the Oceania expansion is a 10 out of 10 expansion. Absolutely. It even gets from my point of view, the essential mark or whatever. I should make an essential logo to put here. That's my... when an expansion is so good, I would rather play with it or without it. That is the best I can give an expansion. It is an essential expansion. Oceania is definitely essential. It's a 10 out of 10 expansion. All the way. Hell yeah. Asia. Moving on to Asia here is both an expansion and a standalone game. It's a standalone 2-player game or a 6 to 7 player expansion. 6 to 7 players, that's way too many. 5 players is getting up there. I recommend Wingspan at 3 or 4. And I think Wingspan already worked at 2. The 2-player mode of Asia is not good enough for me to say I would rather play that than just regular Wingspan at 2. To be honest, the thing that they changed in these yin yang symbols that you place in and score some points based on, that's fine, that's interesting. I can base some of my choices around it, definitely, and trying to score more points like that. But it's not good enough for me to say I would rather play this than just regular Wingspan 2 players. Because regular Wingspan 2 player is still quite good, especially if you just limit the amount of cards you use. Yeah, and 6 to 7, it's too many players. I know that 2 people all of a sudden take the turn at once, and that is definitely interesting to try and doing it like that. But it's too many players. It's just too many players. It's way too many players. We only tried at 6. I don't want to play it at 7, and I don't want to do it again. It's way too many people. So the main lures of this expansion, I'm not interested in that at all. So this for me is just another expansion that adds cards, but because there's all this extra stuff, I'm gonna have to give it a lower score than European expansion. I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. The 6 to 7 player mode, I don't even want to talk about. That's a bad one. The 2-player game is not bad. It's a good game. It's just not good enough for me to play it that instead of regular Wingspan. I could just bring out regular Wingspan and play that 2-player rather than playing this damn duet mode, which is good, it's fine, it works, and it has some interesting scoring mechanisms to explore, I'd just rather play Wingspan at 2. So yeah, and then additional cards. So it's a 7 out of 10. It's a good game. If you are looking to just buy a small packet of game for 2 players, you can play this. You can easily buy this one and just play the 2 players. It's a good game. It is. I just prefer regular Wingspan. And I would say, if you do want to spend it out, buy regular Wingspan. But if you need a smaller box 2-player game, you could get Wingspan Asia and get the Wingspan experience through it that way. You could easily do that still. It contains the components to it. But as looking at it as an expansion and stuff, I'm giving it a 7. So yeah, not as good as the other one. And we've got the promo packs, which are, let's go right to it. I'm giving him an 8 out of 10. Lovely little birds themed around places around the world, done with fans, really cool. Little package to get. I've got all of them, of course, I do. They're really great thematically. They do expand upon the expansions that they're belonging to. Like New Zealand expands a little bit upon the Oceania brand, Asia packing. The Asia pack expands upon the Asia expansion. The European packs expands upon the European stuff. The American promo pack and Canadian expands upon the base game stuff. So it kind of belongs well in there, which I think is very cool. Like if you just have the base game, you can get the American or Canadian birds. The promo pack fits right in. If you've got the European expansion, well, you can get one of those 2. Fits right in. You got the Oceania, you can get that one. Fits right in. So they fit very nicely in like that, which is like really well done for doing that, for making it that way. Also bringing this interesting thing of give each person a deck of promo cards to use as their personal deck. That's a very interesting thing to do, if you ask me at least. Doing it like that, bringing it in like that. That's a very cool thing, very cool addition to the game, having a private deck that only you draw from. We've definitely used that and I like it. It makes it difficult to know where to draw your cards from, but it's a good addition. I like it. All the promo packs, 8 out of 10, just like the European expansion, 8 out of 10. They expand upon it, yeah, 8 out of 10. Feels good, yes. And the newest and final expansion, the Americas expansion, brings in new bird cards, no new abilities. They couldn't figure something out, but it's fair enough. They have when activated, when played, between turns, between rounds, at the end of the game. What do you want to do otherwise? What can you do otherwise, honestly? I mean, the only thing I can sort of think about is a discard ability, right? So you play it down, you can discard this card to do something. It could be interesting, it could work. That's the only thing I can really think about. So fair enough, not bringing in a new power like that, but they bring in hummingbirds. An all new card type, card size that fits in at the end of your row, meaning whenever you go activate a row, you always do something. And I like that, because you can definitely have some rows where, but the bird cards, the when played actions or the between turns were really good, but I don't activate anything, so I do very little on this one. Now you do a little bit more. So that's a nice addition. They say this will make the game a lot longer. I don't think it does. But I then played with 2 people who were taking a long ass time to do it, and I was like, oh, this is why it takes longer. If you play like me, it's not going to take a lot longer. It's not super difficult decisions to make, especially if you have a round goal to achieve on it. So yeah, this one, so yeah, but other than that, I think the hummingbirds are really welcome. You either attract one or send one away. There's some rules about you can send the same one away that you attracted the same turn, but you cannot attract the same one you send away on that turn, which is cool to distinguish that. And then you move up this track, which makes you maybe attract one more hummingbird, maybe not. They score more points the higher up they are. Good little mix of things to do, where you again have an extra scoring over here and just doing this thing. What I like about it is that it doesn't require you to do something different to try and score over here, and then is it worth it? It's not worth it. It is legitimately just an addition of points to your score without you needed to do anything more. And I love that. That's really cool. The Oceania one did that as well, of course. I feel like the hummingbirds they are lower ranked for me than the Oceania one. I'm giving them a 9 out of 10. They have a cool little thing with this track, moving up on it, scoring some more points. It can have something to do with the round goals or your personal goals. but other than that, it is just points. And the attracting ability, where you either get a nectar, an egg, copying an ability on a card. I needed some clarification on that one, because does it count if it's like between turns or between rounds thing? I needed a clarification on that. I didn't find it. Maybe I need to read the rules again, but I didn't find it. Move up a track of your own choosing, or get a nectar. I don't know if I mentioned that one. Get a card, get a nectar, get an egg. Are the good ones. The other ones are fine. It can be quite situational. So yeah, it's a good addition. Makes you do a little bit more. Gives you some more points. Always nice. Shouldn't take that much longer. I don't see why they recommend it. Do not play with one less of your little tiles, one less action, because it's 4 less actions throughout the game. Don't do it. It's not worth it. It's seriously not worth it at all. But yeah, other than that, it's a great addition to it. I'm giving it an 9 out of 10. Not perfect. There could be done a little bit more with the hummingbirds, I think. But other than that, it's a great expansion. I love that expansion as well. Another great addition to Wingspans. Those are all the expansions. If you just quickly go over components, just to mention them, cards and cards and cards. They're all great quality cards. X and nice. There's really much to talk about components wise that I didn't mention with the Wingspan. So yeah, the theme is still great with the Wingspan one. Yeah, I mean, the only one I can do is does should lie to you is of course the Asia one, and it kind of lies to you because it says it's 6 to 7 players. That's a lie. It's a freaking lie. 2 players works absolutely perfectly fine on that one. So yeah, but am I keeping all of these expansions? Am I keeping all? Fuck yes! Look at the box I have. Of course I'm keeping them. It would be stupid not to. So yeah, this was a bit of an expansion, Wingspan expansion extravaganza. So yeah, all the Wingspan expansions are now reviewed. America's is probably going to be my highest ranked expansion of the year. I can't see any expansion topping it. The Heat Rock Road expansion is really good. I have it. We have played it. It's not gonna top this one. Anyways, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next one. Bye!